In the last part, we saw Chu Xiao and Yu walking. The winds by the side of the lake were strong. They walked along the shore of the lake, which was quiet and deserted. Their footsteps slowed down. None of them opened their mouths to speak, not wanting to break the rare moment of tranquility between them. From last night up till now, neither of them spoke about how they had lived their lives the past 2 years. Density had allowed their paths to cross at this place, far away from Xia, far away from Yanbei, far away from all the power struggles and screaming. Life was calm here, with the beautiful sceneries and refreshing air. Their moods had visibly lightened. Naturally, they were not willing to discuss anything that would ruin the moment they were currently in. The winds swayed across the surface of the lake. The soothing moonlight shone onto the ground, making it appear like the time of dawn. Subconsciously, they had walked over to the big elm tree again. Yu stopped in his tracks as he looked up towards the tree, which towered above the ground. The memories of the past few years flashed across his mind again. He had finally arrived back at this place. Chu Xiao looked at the man standing upright. He was still handsome, but he no longer had that cold look in his eyes. Instead, it had been replaced by a look of calmness and a gentlemanly gaze. The look in his eyes was evident that he had experienced the vicissitudes of life, evoking sad emotions in those who stared into his gaze. He had clung on to life despite all that had happened. He had been despised and abandoned by his family and country. But he had managed to get back on his feet in these 2 years. How could it be as relaxed as a simple sentence in which he had described his predicament? I am not dead yet. With countless lanterns floating on the lake, it seemed like a sea of golden lights. Lifting up her head, Chu Xiao's gaze was filled with a tinge of sadness. Looking at Yu, she quietly asked, I heard that the elm tree is divine, and the older the tree, the more strong is divinity. As long as you give it your treasured belongings as a sacrifice, it will be able to provide protection for your friends and family. I wonder if it is true. Yu did not speak and merely stood there silently. Chu Xiao again asked, Do you believe? Yu's long eyes narrowed. He lightly answered, No, I don't. Chu Xiao looked on at him, gently smiling. It was impossible to tell if she was happy or sad from his response. She slowly stretched out her hand as her porcelain-like fingers opened up with her eyes shining like the stars. Yet her heart ached a little as she softly asked, Do you really not believe? Lowering his head, Yu immediately saw the pair of jade ornaments that shimmered in the light. Instantly, he was dumbfounded. Yu I thought that I no longer had the chance to see you. Chu Xiao gently smiled, yet it felt as though one could see a gleam of a teardrop in her eyes. With her lips trembling, she continued, I thought that I could never repay you in this life.
From up here, the world seems small.
In the intense darkness of the light, Yuan Yu's figure seemed ever so happy, as though he was giving an overwhelming aura that squeezed the breath out of Chu Xiao. With his jet black eyes staring straight into her, he did not speak and merely gazed on, as though he wanted to see through her. Suddenly, Yuan Yu heaved a happy sigh before stretching out his arms to hold her in an embrace, before calmly replying to her, Who asked you to repay?
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth.
Just like that, Chu Xiao's tears fell. Obediently, she cowered in his embrace. With a myriad of emotions swirling around in her heart, leaning on his chest, she could smell the familiar scent from his body as warmth filled her entire body. Silently, she closed her eyes as the night wind caressed their bodies. For the first time in her life, she felt that the joyous atmosphere was ever so close to her, as though she could feel the jubilance just by breathing.
Forever free.
Lifting up her head, Chu Xiao tenderly smiled. Yuan Yu, it feels good to be alive. After hearing that, Yuan Yu felt an ache in his heart, yet none other than him could understand the meaning behind that phrase other than him. Gently lowering his head, he kissed her forehead and repeatedly muttered, Indeed, it feels good to be alive.
The world seems small.
With the lanterns shining everywhere, the new year was imminent. In this new year, everything seemed to be new. It was almost as though that the days they lived were stolen from the heavens.
In the great outdoors. Forever.
These days, she had slowly heard about what happened back then.
Forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors. Forever free.
Thank you for staying with me, and I am going to share the story continuously. In the next part, I will share what happened back then. Stay with me, subscribe and like the video to support me and to know the further story of Princess Agent Season 2. Thank you.